morning. John Miller, founding attorney at Rock Solid Law, celebrating 30 years of practicing law independently here at the beaches. And I'm just loving who I'm seeing online. So first and foremost, there is a chat about right there in your screen. Anybody that's on this that has something to add or has something we want to discuss, I don't know how to share the screen to let you discuss it with me, but I'd love to address any questions. And if you have comments and put them up there, I'll be glad to read them to the group. So welcome to Rock Solid Law, Rock Solid Titles, regular, woo, as opposed to irregular, Thursday morning webinar, Zoominar. And oh, I see more people coming on. Welcome. So just for those of you that have any interest in that sort of thing, this is the last time you'll see me with an even number of decades for another good 9 years. So amazingly, I turned 61 on the first day of spring. It will do. And that I was glad for my age this year because then I could have a vaccination. I'm vaccinated, so look out, world. You could actually see my face out in public sometime soon. Hey, so last night, right? This is just so appropriate. Worked a little bit late, pulled out, going down the street. First stop sign, I see two guys riding by on their bikes, happy-go-lucky, decked out to go party, and both of them have a beer in their hand, a bottled beer, by the way, riding their bicycle on the sidewalk toward a major intersection here at the beach. One that I know well. It's not the one I avoid entirely, which is near my home, but another one where there are regularly cleanups because accidents have taken place. So I see these two guys, I'm like, oh man, that's cheeky. They're literally riding around the beaches with a bottled beer in their hand on their bicycle, right? Now, many of you, I'm sure, have lived here a long time like I have and remember the zero tolerance in Jacksonville Beach laws at a time when you literally could go to jail for having an adult beverage in public. I guess I'm affected by that because that's not something I'm very inclined to do when I go out. I guess given that I am the special magistrate of Neptune Beach, I really don't want to make the headlines of the beach's leader for something like that anytime soon. And I thought, wow, look at those young guys. That's just crazy what they're doing. So I went to the light where they went straight, and I, after they'd gone across the crosswalk, of course, with a number of other bicyclists who were not holding beverages, I turned left, and I was running an errand. So a bit later off of 3rd Street, I turned right, and I got all the way to 2nd Street, and there were two of Jack's Beach's finest with their lights on, pulled over, and they were talking to those guys. So I think we could just start our little discussion by noting that open container laws apply whether you're walking or on a bicycle, and certainly if you're in a motor vehicle. So first and foremost, you know, drinking and riding, particularly on the streets, and calling attention to yourself is just boneheaded, and not to mention illegal. I don't know if those guys got a warning, but I do remember I've been a Beaches resident since 1986. And I remember the businesswoman outside the old crab pot who just walked across the seawalk with her beverage and was arrested and taken to the Duval County Jail. I think that our common sense approach to policing has developed and evolved a little bit since then, but I understand with all that was going on the beaches back in those days, why the zero tolerance laws were in effect and why we wanted to enforce them at our beaches. So some of you may or may not know that I write a somewhat regular column that's published in the Ponte Vedra Recorder, Intercoastal Living, and some other places online under the nom de plume Judge John. And so what I enjoy doing is taking subjects that are of interest to people at the beaches and talking about the legal aspects of them. One of the things I always ask in the articles, and I ask on these webinars, is if there's something of interest to folks, let me know, because I would really like to talk about those here on the webinar and also in a future article. I do have 2 or 3 stacked up right now, but you always wonder what the next one's going to be about. And I'd much rather write something of interest in those columns. So many of you will know Sam Veal. Sam owns All American Insurance on 3rd Street in Jacksonville Beach. And Sam is the promoter of Springing the Blues and many of our other wonderful festivals at the beaches. Sam is an avid bicyclist, and I see Rebecca's on the line today, and I know she's an avid bicyclist as well. I wouldn't call myself avid, but I do love my beach cruiser and love to put sand under its tires and tootle up and down our beach, particularly at the lower tides. So Sam suggested, hey, why don't you talk a little bit about bicycle law? I thought, what a great idea, because you know, beach people, we would just soon leave our car in the garage and cruise on our bikes to wherever it is that we're going. There are times on holidays that the First Street outside of my house is completely clogged with bikes, and I actually like that. I like it shutting down the traffic. I'm old enough or have lived here long enough to remember when cruising used to still happen on First Street, and there was a stop sign at, as there is now at Beach and First, and the cruisers backed up well past our home down First Street as they went through, and people just went back and forth up and down First Street, just like in the movie American Graffiti. I had not known it still existed until I moved to First Street. That's long gone now, but I like it, especially for the safety of the kids, when there's lots and lots of bicycles out, quote unquote, clogging up the streets. Why do I say quote unquote? Because bicycles are vehicles just like cars and have every right to be in that lane. And automobiles have to respect them as a vehicle. We have a maximum speed on First Street, for instance, of 25 miles an hour. Some of you bicyclists, Rebecca, let me know, I think I'm right here, can travel at speeds significantly in excess of 25 miles an hour. And yes, I got that one right. And so the minimum speed, the maximum speed limit, I'm sorry, is not a problem. I do notice many motorists getting upset that a bicyclist is taking the lane. Well, guess what, guys? That bicyclist has got every right to that lane that car driver, truck driver, van driver does. And people need to remember, realize, and respect that. Yes, there's a bike lane. And yes, if I'm a bicyclist, I'm getting over in that lane when a car needs to pass me. But when the lane is available, then motorists need to respect the bicyclists. And listen, in downtown Jacksonville Beach, you'll see the signs that say share the road, right? Bicycles are specifically, by ordinance, permitted to take up the whole road, and the car's not supposed to go around them and pass them at all. So you can tell I'm passionate about this subject. I hadn't gotten to my notes yet, so I'm probably going to miss something. But what I was saying is that beach roads get packed and are slow moving. And especially with our tourist friends and our cross the ditch friends, the temperatures inside the car sometimes get as hot as the temperatures outside the car. People get upset because they think that those bicyclists need to move over or be on the sidewalk. Wrong. Bikes are not supposed to be on the sidewalk. Sidewalks are for pedestrians and others, and the bicyclists have every right to be in the lane. Now, on the attorney and counselor side, I would counsel folks to stay in that bike lane when possible, because sadly, just about every bicyclist I know has either been injured in contact with a motor vehicle, or has had a very, very close call, or certainly has a good friend. I have another friend whom I quoted in the recent article, Chris Burns, who holds himself out to be a bicycle accident attorney in Florida. And sadly, there is enough work to keep him busy because of the multiple times that motor vehicles come into contact with bicycles. So again, the bicycle in Florida is legally defined as a vehicle. You know, we have street legal mail carts. No, that's not the right word. Golf carts and other vehicles that are legal to be on the street. And as the bicycle is defined as a vehicle, and the bicyclist, the person pedaling, is defined as a driver. what that does is subject that driver to all of the same traffic laws and rules as drivers of other vehicles. So yes, for me, the most onerous one is you're supposed to stop at that stop sign. You know, whether you do or not is a matter of personal choice. I'm all about liberty and freedom. But if there is a negative result, as a negative result, as a result of you blowing through that stop sign, the law may not be in your favor. So take that into consideration in making your decisions for you, your friends, and your family. You know, as a dad, for me, a lot of what I'm doing when I'm out there is trying to make sure my kids are safe. And the first, it starts with knowing the laws so that you can help your kids understand them. Now, listen, cars are bigger than bikes. The driver of the car rarely gets hurt in a collision with a bicycle. So even though you may legally be in the right, I still advise people to take the utmost caution because arriving home safely and alive is really the name of the game, right? So, what are some of those laws which bicyclists must obey? I've just alluded to one: stopping for stop signs and red lights, riding with the flow of traffic, and using lights at night. Now, okay, we all know that pedestrians are supposed to face traffic so you see it coming. That is not true of bicyclists, okay? When you are riding your bike in America, in Florida, at our beaches, you need to be on the right side of the road. If you are going against traffic, you are messing everything up. And if you get hurt doing that, you may be negligent. Now, I'm not a tort lawyer, okay? I'm not an accident lawyer, and I can't really comment on that, although I'm sure my friend Chris Burns could. But I would urge you to always go with the flow of traffic. And here's the one that I just get on my soapbox about. You know what? It gets night here at the beaches. When it gets night, it gets dark. Don't be a dingbat. Put some lights on your bike, for goodness sake. I get all upset. And skateboarders, if there are any of you on here, you guys too, you need to light up those skateboards. You need to light up those bikes and be seen at night. You know, there's a Rolling Stones song from the 1960s where Mick Jagger says it again, and if you ride your bike at night, wear white. Well, yeah, wear a bright colored shirt like so many of the bicyclists do that are, out there exercising regularly and really reaching great speeds. But put some lights on it, for goodness sake. You know, I see people at the beach having an awfully good time decorating their bikes with lights. Hey, make it fun, but make yourself seen. Be proactive so that you don't get hurt. Put some lights on that bike. You know what? I have actually a friend and sometime client who has developed a light kit for skateboards. And I'm so glad he did. And I told him when we consulted, you know who your client is? It's not the 14-year-old skateboarder who thinks it's fun to go out in the street and scare a car driver. It's their mama, right? You need to sell these to every mom up and down the beach and have them put those on those skateboards so we could see them at night, right? I would encourage a bicyclist to have a blinker on the back of their shirt. I would encourage a bicyclist to have a headlamp, a tail light, and I'd encourage you to have some fun putting lights all over that thing so people are going, ooh, look at that. Guess what? If they're looking at that, they're probably not running into you. All right, off the soapbox. I hope it's okay, Kevin, if I mention that you are on the line today. We are fortunate to be joined by the assistant city manager from Atlantic Beach. You know, each of our beaches cities has slightly different laws regarding bicycles, but they're pretty darn consistent. And I noticed in my research that Atlantic Beach has an absolutely excellent webpage on bicycle safety. I would encourage motorists and bicyclists alike to go there because it just runs down the rules. And, you know, even those of us that may have been riding a bike for 55 or so years, we can renew ourselves on the rules now and again and make sure that we're doing the right things. You know, sometimes we get something in our head that's not correct. I know I do. And as humans, we have a tendency to be stubborn about it, right? And we need to not do that. We need to remember that riding the other direction is incorrect, and riding in the correct direction is what keeps people safe. All right. So check out Atlantic Beach's webpage. Kevin, if you care to type that into the chat bar, I will say it out loud during this. Otherwise, I just went to their homepage or look up Bicycle Safety Atlantic Beach, and I'm pretty sure it pops right up. That's probably how I found it. Everybody should look at that. Okay, listen up. Everybody under the age of 16, anybody that's not old enough to drive a car, is absolutely required to wear a helmet. To wear a helmet. All right? Now, I grew up in the 60s. We never wore a helmet. We just took our licks. But you know what? My kids got good brains. They hate putting a helmet on. When we're going on the roads, though, they're wearing a helmet. On the beach, if we're riding on the beach, they can go without a helmet. But if they are on asphalt, we're putting helmets on, and I encourage you to do it too. It's also great for parents and other adults to be a good example and to wear your helmets. Some argue that everyone riding a bicycle on the roads should be required by law to wear a helmet. That is not the law of the state of Florida. And to the best of my knowledge, none of the beaches, cities have an ordinance in that regard either. But kids have to wear them. So, bicycling, it's more than just a recreational activity. It's available for travel to work, school, errands. In fact, where I live, it's often easier on the weekend to take my bike up and grab the whatever I need at the store than to actually haul the car out of the garage and sit there and wait till I can get out into the street because of all those people visiting us from you-know-where. But it is great. It is a great recreation. It's also fantastic exercise, especially for those of us that got a few decades under our belts. It's a lot easier on the joints than others. I'm going to pause there. I'm getting some really good action on the chat board. Thank you, folks. So, oh man, I'm going to come back and say all the your welcomes and thank you for saying it. So, my friend Kevin, of whom I think the world, and who Atlantic Beach is so fortunate to have as assistant city manager, is saying that they have a hashtag Bike Smart AB campaign, and that is absolutely awesome. Your website is www.coab, I would go with City of Atlantic Beach, .us/Bike Smart, BIKESMART, Bike Smart. Go check that out, everybody. Or if anybody has any suggestions or tweaks, Kevin is asking that you write it. Now look at this. I'm sorry, I didn't get your title right, kind sir. Deputy City Manager of City of Atlantic Beach. Okay, I stand corrected, my friend. And Kevin has even given us his work email. So if you got any questions, it's K, the letter K, Hogencamp, HOGENCAMP, again, COAB.US. All right, everybody. Man, I've got action on the chat board. Let me finish with my outline so I don't forget anything. And I'm coming back to you guys. I love, love, love hearing from you. You know that. And now that I've got my vaccine, I'm looking forward to seeing you out in public again soon. So there has been in Duval County and in our country a crisis of injuries and even deaths sustained by bicyclists. So we as a community, we as a culture, we as the citizens of this part of the world really need to take action and steps to improve safety and accessibility. I believe that our beaches cities are doing a good job working toward that. I know a committee that I sit on with our beaches chamber has been working with some of the city managers talking about bicycle racks, so it's convenient to park and lock, gonna get back to that, your bike wherever you ride at the beaches. We've got to improve safety and accessibility. Kevin's given you his email address. I would suggest that if you have suggestions in that regard, that he would be an excellent first step. We've got to support programs to educate motorists, kind of what I'm trying to do today, and cyclists. And I lost my place. Sometimes you just got to admit it, on how to interact safely, right? That's what I'm talking about. The motorists don't know the laws. It's clear, because they're beeping and trying to get bicycles to move out of the lane when they have no right to do so. But they got the bigger vehicle, so the bicyclist is always going to be at the disadvantage. So additionally, we need to improve infrastructure and facilities for bicycles. It's important, as I started our session with, that the police have to enforce traffic rules and make the roads safer for cyclists. Just in case anybody disagrees with that, I can't imagine. I've got intelligent people on this call, but if anybody does, um, it's only been a few months since a bicyclist was killed here at our beaches, and one death is too many in that regard. That's totally preventable. Now, I will say, I am personally aware of a beach guy who was entirely irresponsible on his bike, and this is some years back, but was killed. Candidly, he just thought he'd take a shot at crossing Third Street without stopping and looking. It was just not smart. I still mourn his death, but I also mourn for the driver of the motor vehicle that killed him, because really it was unavoidable because of his action. So we need to educate those cyclists as well. Alluded to locking your bike. Everybody raise their hand that's had a bike stolen. Oh my gosh, I think I've had 2 stolen, not only one at the beach. But the funniest thing about where I live is the stolen bikes show up in the empty lot next to my house. And really the police have very little idea what to do with them. And I believe they eventually get donated to the boys club or something. But we call, they come get them. I know it's not the best use of our police resources, but we have to do it. But Jacksonville Beach has started, and I'm imagining, Kevin, let me know if you can, that the other beaches have a similar program, a bicycle registration program that helps get a bike back to its owner. You know, one of the things about living at the beach, everybody loves the beach. A lot of really nice people come to the beach. A few folks that are not so nice come to the beach. Some of those people need transportation and will lift an unlocked bike. So I strongly recommend a good, strong bike lock to keep that bike safe when you don't have your eyes on it. A bicycle is stolen every 7 seconds. Now, to tell you the truth, I think that's in America. That's certainly not at our beaches. I think that's even too big a number for Florida. But please, please, please lock your bike. Very, very sad when your bicycle is suddenly gone. Let's see, what else have I got? Share the road is more than just a slogan. Vehicle drivers must give bicycles a minimum of 3 feet of clearance. 3 feet, 3 feet of clearance. I think the police ought to enforce it when driving alongside or passing them. Must pass safely with a 3-foot buffer. And cyclists, you can help when you know you're getting past, move over a little bit. But listen, this was really interesting for me in this, and I'm wrapping up. One of the big points is cyclists should ride big. Make yourself visible. That's what we're talking about with bright lights at night. You also should take up a sufficient amount of the lane so that you're visible from a distance to the operator of a car or a truck. That is counterintuitive to me, but that is the right thing to do. So make sure you ride big. I know that I have at least one person on the call who regularly rides with a group, and I'm sure that groups are much more visible than individuals. Rebecca, if you've got anything to add in that regard, please type it in the bottom now, because I am wrapping up. I try to do these things in 30 or 35 minutes, and I've talked too long this morning. Listen, we at the beach, we love the feeling sun on our skin. We love wind in our hair. We love salt on both. One of the most enjoyable ways to have those is riding a bike along the beach. Whether it's on the beach or on our roads, please, please keep safe, be informed of the laws, and help others to learn them. I know one of the hardest ones I wrote, one of the columns I wrote was about staying off the dunes, man. People are passionate about wanting to play on the dunes, but the dunes are what save our home. And following safety laws with bicycles can save our lives. Now, I've got so much in the chat board this morning that I'm going to put the readers on and see what I have got to say. Rick, you say you can hear but couldn't see me. Well, I think there are a lot of people that think you have the best of both worlds in that regard. There's nothing you need to see here, but I hope I've said something valuable to you. Patty, thank you so much. Yeah, it's good to have birthdays, isn't it? Rebecca, I love Sam too. Sam Veal does so much for our beaches. He's just an amazing asset. And I am on the committee at the Beaches History Museum with Sam that's brought some amazing music to the chapel over the years. We have been communicating in our hope that we'll be far enough through the pandemic to restart the music at the History Museum this fall. We had to cancel the end of last spring season, all of last fall season, this winter spring season. So we're hoping to be back in the fall with some extraordinary music. And you know, with Sam on the committee, that it will be. I really appreciate Sam bringing this subject. I actually pulled up next to him at the light at Beach and Third, and he yelled out of his truck, "Hey, I got an idea for an article." So however I get them, you guys send them in. Kevin, you are welcome for my, and I quote, amazing efforts to make our community better. You know, just to give Rock Solid Law a shout out, I have an amazing team here, and we love being a part of this community. I have lived at the beaches since 1986. I have owned a home at the beach since 1990, and I have operated my independent law practice at the beaches, in most of the beaches, in fact, since 1991, starting in Ponte Vedra, moving to Atlantic Beach, and now in Jacksonville Beach. And fortunately, I get to do my work at City Hall Neptune Beach. So I feel like I've got all the beaches well covered. My first home was in Atlantic Beach when I moved to the beach. First couple of homes. Let's see. I said the web page. Kevin is wide open for suggestions. The good folks at Atlantic Beach, they're doing a fabulous job. Rick says, I live in Atlantic Beach and many bicyclists ride down Beach Avenue the wrong way down that one way. Is this illegal? Kevin, would you care to comment on that? That is interesting thought, because that is a one way, and it sure is a safe place to bike and walk. So I would be interested in knowing the answer to that, because I will tell you that I have ridden on that road for over 30 years. So that's a good one. Let's see if we got a comment coming up on that one. You are welcome for my time to educate on bike safety and laws. Rebecca has chimed in. Thank you so much. If you can, the possibility is getting injured when riding with a group and dying while riding alone. So those of you that are exercising, I would highly encourage you to get with a riding group, because you can see that large group of people in bright green and fuchsia and all those cool colors riding by. We don't miss them. Riding alone, sometimes you can be invisible. Rebecca says, be visible. I like that, Rebecca. Whoa, Kevin, thank you. Kevin says, I'm hitting all the key safety points and relevant laws. Atlantic Beach does not have a bike registration program. He sent me more bicycle songs. I'll be listening to those all day, because I listened to all my Irish Van Morrison, etc., the Chieftains yesterday. Rick's going to email Kevin some questions about bicycling. I love it. Rebecca adds, respect the road and cars. Don't engage in road rage. You're at the beach, man. Hakuna Matata, chill out. Kevin is sending his notes to all attendees. Thank you. I appreciate you duplicating to me. I'm good with that. Yep, duplicating. And Kevin says, looking forward to hearing from you, Rick. Yes, riding the wrong way is illegal, but enforcement of that is tricky. So take that into consideration. Maybe you need to go over, Sherry, to the next street over to ride. Folks, this has been invigorating. I'm sorry I went a few minutes over. I thoroughly have enjoyed interacting with you this morning on this subject. Again, if you have ideas for future webinars, Zoominars, or articles, please just flip me an email. You can do so at questions@rocksolidlaw, and that gets right to me. And I don't know, I'm kind of happy to put on the rest of that Queen song as we're going out. You guys, it's a beautiful day at the beach. Take care of each other, and we'll talk soon. you.